Hey guys, today on Hey Sabri, I'm going to be answering Rahat Hassan Chowdhury's question. He's written, Hey Sabri, how long does it take to convert the leads that opt in? How do you ensure that they are converting soon? So this is a great question. And while I hate to say that it depends, it really does depend. And the big things that it depends on is how much information is involved in the sales process for whatever it is that you're selling. And that largely usually depends on what the asking price is. Naturally, if you've got like a two-step funnel where you're offering a free report about the 5 things that you absolutely must know before buying your first home, and then you've got like a phone call consult and a bunch of email sequences that go out after they download that piece of content, there is going to be a lot of information that is going to be required in order for somebody to move them to a decision to actually buy a house. And the reason for that is a house is generally the single largest investment that someone will ever make in their lifetime. So it's not something they just make on a whim. Like, they've got lots of burning questions that they really need to get answered. There's a lot of things that they're considering when they're actually going through that whole process to become a customer and buy a home. If you compare that to somebody that's maybe doing a course to become a Pilates teacher, and that might be $3,000 to $5,000, where depending on where you live in the world, we'll say that the house is going to cost you $500K. There is going to be a huge difference in between the time that it takes for someone to opt in and then convert to a customer on buying a house as opposed to doing a course in becoming a Pilates teacher. So realistically, the thing that you want to do is you want to sit down and you want to map out where your prospect is right now in their journey, in their information gathering journey. And then you want to look at what does the desired end outcome look like for where it is that prospect wants to go, i.e. they're in the market for a home, they're looking at getting finance approved, and their dream come true experience is to move into a beautiful forever home and get the keys to that and be living in there with their family. And you need to think about, well, what are the 4 or 5 steps that are going to need to take place? And there might be many more, but you want to look at kind of the big overarching 4 or 5 steps that are going to need to take place to take that person from where they are right now with being uneducated about the market, how this whole process works, to actually moving into the house. It might be, getting finance approved, picking an area, a house and land package, then looking at the interiors, etc., etc. And then you want to kind of map out what that is going to typically look like in terms of a sales cycle. And you want to have core pillars of content that you provide to that person along that journey and along the way. And the same thing goes for whatever it is that you're selling. Typically speaking, I've looked at a whole bunch of studies that show that 80% of all the sales in most businesses, depending again on what it is that you're selling, I'm talking about products that require more information and typically getting on the telephone and a sales cycle with a salesperson involved. 80% of all the revenue is typically taken 90 days after the person makes that initial inquiry. And if you look at how that is vastly different to how most people's funnels and advertising is set up, where they're running like a landing page if they've got their head screwed on right, or they might just be, murdering money and sending them directly to their homepage or a contact us page. And then the whole offer is typically engineered around get in contact with us. We've got the biggest range, the best prices, or we've been in business since 1982, or however long these guys have been in business for. They're just completely focused on making the sale now. That everyone's worried about today money, when that's not where 80% of the revenue really takes place. And then you're left kind of like fighting it out and just battling over the scraps on the ground, scratching it out with the turkeys for that very small percentage of business that's going to happen in those first 90 days. So, you really, to kind of answer your question, you really need to look at what that sales cycle looks like, typically from inquiry to close, from information gathering to closing as well. And you need to make sure that you engineer a funnel that lasts as long as that sales cycle, where you're making multiple offers to those people throughout that buying journey. I hope that helps you. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. We're dropping a video like this almost every single day on YouTube. And if you've got any questions, leave them in the comments box below with hashtag HeySabri, and I'll do my best to get in there and get that answered.